I thought that was kind of funny. Like there must be a grandma out there that never cleaned her glasses, or you always caught her um cleaning her glasses or whatnot. And I kind of gotta go pee, but I'm gonna hold it and see if I can hold it to the end. So maybe there's some grandmas out there that are like, I gotta go pee. I don't know, real funny. So we got some psychic downloads right now. And I've never had this happen. I actually was asking the Holy Spirit and guardians to download only 3 messages, but I feel we got a fourth one. And I'm going to let that flow at the end naturally to see how it plays out. Because I'm still like a little bit like, whoa, I can't believe it. This has never happened to me. So here we go with our ancestral downloads. We got the symbolism of ladybugs, bees, and blue swirls, like heavenly swirls. Like it could be white feathers. Maybe your grandmother liked the white feathers and bluish. Maybe she liked bees. Maybe when you see bees, they light up. Maybe when you see ladybugs, you light up. So I know one of my grandmas are in here. So come through, grandma. You know, grandmas are not just, they're not just family. They're spiritual teachers, and they carry messages for your lifetime. You know, they carry messages of protection, they carry messages of direction, they carry messages that you don't even know you're going to need later on in life. So let us go ahead and tap into the first grandma. Bum, ba-da-da. Grandma with the ladybugs. I know when I see my grandma with the ladybugs flying everywhere, that's when I think of her. That's when I see her, you know? That's why I said I know when I see her. All right, so grandma with the ladybugs. The cards we have here are the Empress and the Page of Wands. Okay. So this this grammar, maybe this grandma likes that you're improving your grammar. Maybe she wish in her lifetime she could have improved her grammar. Okay. She wants to make this a funny reading. This grandma could have been really funny. Um, she could have laughed when you farted. She could have um talked about like body parts, to make you laugh as a child. Like, oh, look at grandma's titties. um, she could have had a nickname for you. Um, this is gonna be really nice. This reading is gonna be nice, and I haven't even started it yet. So let's tap in now. Ladybugs, as you know, represent luck, blessings, new beginnings. She's speaking to you about your creativity. She's speaking to you about your self worth. So if you pick the ladybug grandma, that's what she's going to focus on. She's going to tell you today that you're an empress, or that you are embodying your creativity more than you ever have in your lifespan. However old you are, you could be 21, you could be 35, you could be 45, you could be 39. This is the time where she's saying you have been the most creative. And she's saying, round of applause, right? She's saying you have finally found the ingredients that you've been looking for. Um, she says, stop doubting your light. She says you've been gifted with good seeds, so plant them, right? Make the best soup. She says, curry the chicken. She says, hurry the chicken. She says, shake it in the bag. She says, don't wait for perfect conditions. The harvest starts when you begin. The Empress card talks about abundance is around the corner. And the Page of Wands is saying you need to begin with a curious heart and a courageous heart. Your grandmother is telling you in this message that being creative and celebrating life at the same time is the best thing that you can do for yourself right now. You're meant to thrive, not just survive. And that you need to nurture your ideas, all of them, writing them down, making small notes, doing small paintings before you do big paintings. I'm hearing riding a tricycle before you get on a motorbike. She wants you to take small steps that will lead into you growing your legacy. I feel like this grandma is smiling at you right now. This grandmother said that um, if you have children or children around you, or that you have nieces and nephews, you're being guided to encourage them that they are intelligent, that they can strive to be successors, that they can break generational curses. They may not understand what you're saying now, but she's saying still instill words of positivity inside their little hearts and their little minds, because the world screams at them with so much other stuff. Speak life into their body and into their mind. Do not despise small beginnings. I think we had this message earlier today, but it's coming back around. Follow your inspiration quickly. If you are guided to start a project, start it. Write it down. Like, I want to do this. And if you have to pick it back up later, that's okay. She says, act on your excitement, practice self care so that you can enjoy those simple pleasures. She's also telling you to be generous and be generous with yourself. Don't wait for, it to be the right day for you to start sitting down and harnessing that one idea you want to put on Canva, that thing you want to put out. She's also saying, don't quiet your joyful moments. If you're happy about something, you know, be happy about it. It's going to be a magnet for your miracles. So we say goodbye to Grandma number one, but we'll come back to her again with the ladybugs. Let's go to Grandma two. Grandma in the house. Come down. Grandma in the house. Grandma in the house. We got Grandma with the bees. We got Grandma with the bees. Grandma with the bees. So we pulled the 5 of Pentacles and the 7 of Wands. Grandma with the bees. This grandma, she not so happy. This grandma is not happy at all. This grandma is fierce. She's protective. I'm feeling like this grandma likes to curse. And she's not like evil or anything. She's just, she's straight up. She got a lot of ancestral frustration built up, okay? And she's tired of watching you settle for less. She's tired. Grandma with the bees, you know what I mean? She wants to buzz on you, bzz, okay? She is tired of watching you settle for less than you deserve. She's got bees on her sweater and they symbolize hard work. You're a hard worker. Some of y'all could be into stocks. Some of y'all could be Hebrew. Some of y'all could have recently gotten a citation or a bill that you didn't like. I don't know, some sort of bill came in the mail, or like, you were told you can't do this here. You need to get a permit, something like that. She just brought it up. She also said that you're doing a lot of work for your community. And that she was somebody who believed in a lot of order and structure. She also maybe have like birds. Y'all could have had a family bird in the house, or she may have fed the birds a lot in your backyard or down the street. She was that kind of grandma, right? She fed the birds. Her message for you today is, why are you carrying lack when you have so much pots of honey in the kitchen that she left for you? What's going on? She says that the struggle you're going through isn't punishment. She's like cussing you right now. She's got like a, when you roll out dough, she's got a pin, or she's got a comb. She's got something that she's cussing you with, a pen. She likes to flick things too. She says you need to awaken your strength. She wants to beat me on my back or something. Like, she could have slapped you a lot, like slapped you on the back or something. Like, she wants to hurt me. Okay. The 5 of Pentacles right here, there's a lot of bodies, okay? And there's a lot of like green, there's a lot of things. There's like a battle between like things that are alive and things that are dead or passed on. So there's emotional hardship, there's financial hardship, but you're still able to stand tall. So even though you've invested a lot, you've also lost a lot. Even though you've had a great relationship for 5 years, maybe, you know, you didn't have a good relationship for 10 years, right? You had one good and bad, right? Um, she's suggesting that you stop entertaining scarcity. You stop entertaining what God didn't create for you. Stop begging for love. Stop begging for people to respect you. She's saying protect your ideas from those who copy you and never contribute to you, realize your power and your strength. The number 472 could be very significant. She says, watch how much dumplings you're eating, your rice intake, your sugar intake, your starch intake. She says there has to be a divine balance. Um, you know what I mean? Sometimes you eat and you eat emotionally and you go on and on and on and on. You know, you only need 5 and you're eating 7 or 8. And then you're like, oh, why did I eat so much? I don't feel so good. She also said when it comes to family, she's trying to warn you that there's a lot of people in your family that are monitoring spirits. They drain your energy. They're jealous when you progress, when you move forward. And she says, you got to guard your peace, hun. You got to guard your peace, babe. You got to guard your peace, my son. That's what she's saying. Guard your peace. Like, don't tell everybody that you got a nice job and it's paying you like over the mark that everybody else is getting. Maybe everybody works at Costco or they work at Walmart and everybody getting $12 and you getting 14. She says she's giving that to you. She's giving that to you. So don't let it mislead you. She said take care of your kids as well if you got any. She says the Lord will fight for you. All you need to do is be still. And she's like tapping her this wood stick. I don't know. She got some equipment. The number is 1414. Could be very significant to you. The song Exodus. Na na na. I don't even know. Let me look it up. Exodus. The song. I think that's a Bob Marley song. Bob Marley, Exodus. Let me check up the lyrics real quick. Yeah. Exodus movement of Jah people. Me and people will fight you down. Tell me why when you see Jah light. Let me tell you you're wrong and why everything's going to be all right. So we're going to walk all right through the roads of creation. We're the generation. Tell me why who trod through great tribulation. So she's saying like she been through it all. And she fought for you to be here. She fought for your father to be here and your mother to be here. And you got to look within because like that's the only place you're going to find true satisfaction. Don't worry about other people and their opinions. Your grandma says, stay firm in your value. You work too hard to get where you at. For someone to like take your cards off the table. Don't fold now, she said. She says, tithe. Hakawolobosiyamaka. She says you need to tithe. Hese rata. She says sometimes you get that $14. Everybody in the house is getting 12. And you got to take $1 out of that 14 you get, and now you got $13. And she says, but that's supposed to help you after you stabilize yourself. It's like you borrow from God. You saying, okay, God, you gave me 14 for a reason, but I'm gonna give you back 1 so I can keep getting this 14 because I don't want to be dropping my salary down to 12 because I'm not grateful. She says you got to keep working with discipline. Your honey season is on its way to you. Your honey has technically always been on the shelf. Don't chase validation. Don't chase validation or attention. Don't overshare your financial or personal plans. Some of y'all might be like, yeah, I get this much or I don't get this much because of this and da 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 da. You start talking too much when you're drinking or talking too much when you're smoking. Stop doing that. She says, you know what I mean? Don't confuse delays with denial. Everything is a training season for you. All right, let's move on to the next. Grandma. Grandma with the white swirls. So grandma with the white swirls, right? On a blue sweater. She got the hangman and the emperor. This grandma is very calm. This grandma has got a cool and collective kind of authority to her. She's got some swagger. She's a baddie, as some would say, but not in our age. She was just like everybody wanted to be around this grandma. This grandma had everything. She knew when to surrender. She knew when to call in for protection. This grandma says your mother hasn't behaving so well. This is what your grandma said. Your mother hasn't been behaving so well, or your father, one of them. She says one of them ain't behaving so well. In this lifespan, they could have done better. She says she's gonna reorder your steps, and she been trying to reorder your steps, but sometimes you got that push and pull with your parents. And she says you got to pause. You got to let heaven rearrange your priorities. You got the hangman here, and it's about releasing control. The emperor says structure will come after you surrender. So there's a lot of things you got to surrender because you always trying to control everything. She's trying to teach you balance. She's trying to teach you when to yield and when to lead, when to shut up, and you know what I mean, when to talk. This grandma ain't no joke. I like this grandma. This grandma said, she's trying to position you into a place where you're meant to be, not where you're just put up. She says, don't fight what is coming your way. Don't fight what makes you pause, because some seasons of reflection that are meant for you to be there. And you could be currently going through a season of reflection. You could be currently watching the clock over and over and over, like, what next, what next, what next, what next? And she says, you're trying to control too much. She says, you already have your chair. You already have your throne. You already have the tools. You already have the skill set. She says, in business, you need to do things that will last longer. Right? It's like you got to sit down and you say, God, what is the plan? I need your clear, you know what I mean? Decipher. It's like you need a clear decipher from the Most High. And she's saying you got to wait for God to give you that clear vision. When it comes to your family, she says that you have to break down this patriarchal way of doing things. Like, like maybe mom's always cooks, maybe dad always works. She says you got to change your mindset because that's not the time that we're in. She says maybe in her generation that was the thing, but in the next generation coming up, that's not going to be the way it goes down. She says the masculine bloodline in your family has some wounds that they ain't ever healed from. And she says you need to heal from those things. Don't carry those things. If your dad's always shouting at your mom, or your dad thinks he's the king and he ain't got to clean up after himself, she says that ain't going to work for your generation. If you're expecting your wife to cook 7 days a week, that ain't going to work for your generation. She said, trust in the world, trust in the Lord. She said, you trust in the world too much. You trust in the world too much. You trust in the flesh. She said, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own misunderstanding, because it's misunderstanding, right? Don't lean on your own understanding. She said, let the Holy Spirit guide you and not the clock. And we have a clock here on the hangman in the background, and it looks like it's stuck on one time. She says, stop carrying responsibilities that are not yours. Maybe you do too much for your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister. Stop doing that. And don't rush. You want to get married, you want to have kids, you want to have a car, you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to travel the world. Don't rush. You got everything. She says you got money. She says you got accolades. She says you got weapons of destruction. She says you got seeds on the ground growing. She says you got a top hat. She says, you just keep trying to control it all. She says you got to be still, because the best thing that you don't see right now is that in your preparation, it's like there's a silence or sacredness about you. I'm seeing something, and it's like, imagine you about to go out onto a match, right? You're about to go to this big fight that you fought everybody underneath you. Now you're going for the big belt, or the World Series, okay? You're going for the World Series and you knocked everybody else out the park. And just before you go to the final game or the final championship or the final fight, it's almost like you got to grease up, got to clean your shoes, You got to slick back your hair. And she says, those are the greatest conversations behind, just before that game. You have the greatest conversations. You have the most, you know what I mean? Precise timing with the tape that you wrap your hands, you wrap your, tape underneath the glove. That's that preparation season, she says. That's what you in. I feel like I'm talking to a masculine. And she says, that's where you got to take in. Because once the game is over, you only going to remember what your wife or the coach said behind the wall. If you won and if you didn't win. Because, when people be like, just before I came out, man, this is what was said. People remember those last tidbits before they win or before they lose. So she wants you to focus on those tidbit moments. And those tidbit moments come in the preparation, the unboxing. Before you put on your shoes, what do you do? When you get a new pair of shoes, what do? You take it out, you put the laces in, you take out that paper, you look at them a little bit, you smile a little bit, you make sure you got some clean socks to put in them. Like, you know what I mean? You put on your clean socks. Shoot, some of y'all even wipe your feet. You put them on and then you press into them before you even start walking. So she's saying, embrace that. Because that part is special. That part is monumental. That part is important. I don't know. This grandma's serious. I like her though. So my last and final message is, I thought it was ironic that the first grandma with the ladybugs and the last grandma with the blue and white swirls both pulled out an emperor and an empress. So I feel like I got two messages here. We got grandma 1 and grandma 2 having a conversation. Now, either they know each other in the spirit realm, of course, and they want their granddaughter and grandson to come together, or we have another message from grandma where, she's saying the world is at war and the world is becoming more spiritual. And in the midst of the world being at war and becoming more spiritual, we have to remain, I don't know, hard and soft. That's what I'm hearing. It's like we got to find a balance between using our heart and standing up for change and order. We can't have a dream without delegating. We can't just be a vessel and not have a vision. And if you are coming into a union, take it how you see it, whether this is a collective message or this is another grandmother. However you see it, when you come together with people, they're going to have disagreements with you on your creativity and how you do things. But there are going to also be people who agree with your level of creativity and how you do things. Remember to use both your heart and order or, skill. Remember that God builds his house and doesn't labor in vain. He doesn't build houses on sand. He builds it on a rock because it has foundation. So before you can build it, you got to see the vision, right? And I believe that there are some of your bloodlines that are also being healed. This is definitely from another grandmother. She's saying the women and the men in your family are healing. And these two grandmas coming together with a message from the masculine side and the feminine side is basically saying that nurturers are in the family and men who are leaders are in the family again, and they will find balance moving forward. But some of those old traditions have to break. We have to bend some of those old traditions. We have to honor the things that we don't honor right now. Some people don't honor sleeping, getting that rest. Our body needs rest. Some people honor productivity. Like, I got to produce, I got to do, I gotta. Okay. So the grandmas are also coming together to say that God is in control and he's constructing everything. Let God do most of the talking. Don't let your feminine side take over and don't let your masculine side take over. Compassion is better than comparison. right? And don't let your crown fall. We out.